Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to my messy study. Yesterday I was watching the Bears game, and something occurred to me. You see, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I love watching them play, even when not when they lose or play sloppy, when they play well. But there are some really die-hard fans out there who just worship and love the Bears. It's just, they bleed orange and blue. In fact, looking through Facebook and Instagram after the game, I saw these pictures of people dressed up in different ways rooting for the Bears. Now, it's really interesting because they were really there. They were in the moment. They were watching their team play. And it made me think this was a spiritual experience for them. They actually were devoted 100% to root for their team. They were 100% there to worship their team. They know the players. They know the stats. They know what's going on. They hold up the pictures and the big D and the big fence calling for defense and to bear down because it's the monsters of the Midway. They're known for their defense. And so, you have these people there dressed as they can be for this game, with shouting and yelling and screaming when their team is on defense and the opposite team is on offense, so that it's so loud that the players can't hear the calls on offense. And so that way then to disrupt the team. That's how they're involved. That's how they are. They have chants. They have yells. And everything involved is just amazing. It is worship! Now, this got me to thinking. How do we today actually worship? What do we worship? Worship sometimes is people have this image of standing in a pew, sitting in a pew, then standing up and picking up a gray book or a blue book or a red book and opening it up and reading words and notes and singing. And other times people think of worship as having words on the wall and a guitar and drums and a bass and people up front singing and leading you to be able to sing along with them. That's part of worship. But that's not what worship really is. God talks about worship actually in the Old Testament and then in the New Testament. He talks about this in Exodus 20. He says in the Ten Commandments, you shall have no other gods before me. He also says you shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything on the heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. Wow. Okay, I'm not putting down Bears fans because I am a Bears fan. I root for them. I cheer for them. I know the numbers. I've been learning the stats. I know which players are cool and which ones need work. I'm totally an old-fashioned Urlacher fan. He was the best. And then you have Akeem Hicks, and then you have Khalil Mack, some great players now they have on the team. And so, you have this wonderful thing that's going on, and people are cheering, people are rooting. But why? Because they care. They care for their team. They're devoted to their team. And when I think about worship, I wonder how devoted we are to Christ. How devoted we are to worshiping Him. How devoted we are to actually being there 100%, knowing who He is, knowing His Word, and what He's doing. Now, I'm not trying to do a Jesus juke. I'm not trying to have it where we're leading one direction and then I shift gears and run with the ball and go a different direction on you. I'm trying to use this as a way of saying, hey, how do you worship? How do you are able to truly know what it means to be a follower of God, to be a Christ follower? Do you study the stats? Do you read His Word? Do you do more than just go to church on Sunday? Is all life part of worship? Are you willing, not just get dressed up, that's different. That's not what I'm talking about here. But are you willing to put on Christ? Are you willing to cheer for other people who are going through sufferings, to be able to encourage them? Are you willing to help those in need? To be able to give in ways that help those who are struggling? Are you willing to be present with those who are suffering, present with those who are in need? Are you willing to be like Christ? We talk about worship. It's about being fully devoted to Christ. It's not just about Sundays. It's not just about singing songs or hearing somebody preach for 20 minutes to a half hour. It's about being fully devoted to Christ. Being fully devoted to who He is and what He calls you to be. In fact, Paul writes in Ephesians 4 to be true to your calling. In all things that you do, be true, and to follow the calling that God has given you in Christ. We're told by Jesus to worship God alone. And we're told how to worship Him with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength. And to love our neighbor as ourselves. This is how we worship. So are you willing to be fully devoted? Are you willing to completely and fully devote yourself to Christ? Kind of like how they do at the Bears games, at other football games. Are you willing to make it into not just something you do, but a true spiritual experience? This is Josh signing off from my messy office. Have a wonderful day.